Our story begins on January 2nd, 2020, on the second day of the new year on a chilly winter day. There is an apartment. Our hero is talking about the boiler in his small apartment is stopped working. When he is standing in front of the boiler, he think, he might have rented a house with a broken boiler. Then on outside the room, someone yelling that, you young uns these days, you need to learn how to save heating. Then he advised them to put on some thick undergarments and stick bubble wrap on the windows. This old man is owner of this apartment. Then our hero thinks that old man, that was his way of letting them know in advance that, the boiler would go out at some point. If he went to him now, to tell that the boiler is broken, he would surely blame him for everything. Then he would tell him to pay for repairs, then say that he would have to raise the rent because he didn't take care of the house. Well, and another nonsense like that. He would like to bury the head for old man in the backyard, but he didn't want to make trouble. For him, who has lived a dreary and difficult life since he was born, a freezing cold shower was more fitting than a hot shower from a working boiler. Then it sneezed, and though, this room sure is a cold, though, perhaps he was brainwashed by the word of that darned old man, because the next thing he knew, he lived his closet-sized apartment to buy some bubble wrap for the windows. Then he opened the window and chilly winds coming through it. Then he think that, it called the butterfly effect, a small incident like his boiler breaking down would change his life completely. Then there is a shopping mart. On same day 9 p.m., our hero asks, where can he find the bubble wrap? The staff lady said, she show him the direction. On the way he thinks, they seriously have everything here. Then he saw a boy's asking his father that, can he get that wrench? His father said, why would you need a monkey wrench? Put that down. That boy was very excited about that things. Then our hero's name is Hwayoon. According to orphanage director, this was the name given to him by his father, who he had never met. His name means peaceful achievement, which he has been living a life that's the absolute opposite. He was abandoned by his parent at birth. The orphanage did nothing more than provide him with a place to sleep and eat. However, it was the place that made him determined to become a stronger. He decided that money would be his means to becoming powerful. That was why he ran around working like crazy, even when he was still in high school. But his poor educational background and lack of money meant that he could only land part-time gigs. If there's one thing he learned from that experience, it was that, even if he sold his insignificant time, he would only earn pennies. The world is a harsh place. Then he watching a weapons section, and hold one and thinks, this is pretty nice and interesting too. Then beside there a lady's staff and a man seeing Yoon holding a machetes giving them the creeps vibe, while Yoon smiled and thought, well, this sure brings back memories, when he realized that his hard labor wasn't even worth enough one 10,001 note, even if he slaved away, and that orphans couldn't enlist in the army. He become a mercenary, fighting in countless battles and wars around the world. As a member of Force One, a transnational machinery corps, Force One was full of orphans and those who were rejected by society. In other words, people who had nothing to lose. People like him were given a place to sleep, clothes to wear, and the promise of money until the day they die, and he was thankful for all of that. They team up together, defeating the pirates at sea and beheading the leaders of terrorists on land. Occasionally, he would also participates in international wars to raise his price tag. The staff holding the machete and asked, what will you be using this for? It's usually very practical for a purpose like logging and camping. Would you like me to show you some other machete that are more practical instead? Then Yoon said, it's fine, he'll take this. Then he pointed that bubble wraps that asked him 10 meter to cut. Lady said, sure thing. Then she start cutting the bubble wrap very messy. Yoon thinks, you've got to be kidding him, that blade is so dull and she's making such a mess. He's irritated to see that. Then he said, move over. The lady said, what? Then he hold his machete and swing it and cut it very swiftly. That lady staff is surprised and puzzled, while Yoon noticed something and said, what this is? There is any event going on? Some people talk something that they take a picture with it, that's so realistic. Then a scream sound coming through there. Everyone surprised to see that a goblin jumps over them with a knife, everyone running from there. Then that goblin killed one of a man and sit there and start eating that corpse. Hwayoon with fear on his face thinks, what's going on? That's look just like one those goblin he have seen in games. That goblin is eating corpse meat. And then he turned there and saw Hwayoon's HR feared, and then that goblin jumps over him, but next second Hwayoon swing his machete and beheaded that goblin and again thought, what the hell is happening? In the mall there are blood all over and screaming sound everywhere. Hwayoon exhausted and disgusted with overwhelming stench of blood on his machete, then someone calling for help, and then Hwayoon turned there where many corpses laying there on the ground and many goblins smiling over their prey. Then there is a lady and a girl shaking with fear, while goblins surrounding them. Then Hwayoon swinging his blade and beheaded one of goblin, and then that lady asked, what's going on? Where are these things coming from? Hwayoon no response to her and thinks, this blade really doesn't cut through things well. He guess he need to find something more useful to deal with the situation. Then sudden many sounds coming through goblin. There are many goblins coming through in way. Lee thinks, what they just keep coming. And then some guys said, fight them. And then many peoples with different weapons killing one by one goblins. One man sitting in a corner and said, dear God, please save him, and tremble in fear. Then Hwayoon said, hey, this isn't a dream, you had better get your act together. And he is holding a chainsaw and giving him and said, if you want to live, get up, praying is not going to get you anywhere, right now, he just want to increase the number of people fighting this horde of goblins. Then there are many peoples ready for battle with goblins with Hwayoon. Then there sudden a goblin attacked a man that holding a chainsaw, then he swing chainsaw, and beheaded him. Hwayoon said, good job to him. That man puzzled, even if one was physically and mentally weak, the human instinct to survive is a great force. Then one man said, hey, everyone. Over there was a gate that manifesting fast. Then Hwayoon said, there's no mistaking it. This must be where those monsters are coming from, they need to get rid of that things. Then another man said, how can we get rid of that? Lee said, he don't know. Then sudden a big hand with sharp nails coming through that portals, again many goblins coming through that portal. In the mall it's turned into battlefield, all over the blood and corpses laying. Hwayoon hiding and watching two goblin eating corpses. He thinks, the situation is only getting worse, the number of goblins swarming out of the rift has not decreased one bit. Moreover, the stamina of the people fighting the goblin is steadily decreasing. At this rate, there's no way anyone would know how to get rid of these dangerous creatures. Also, they still don't have a logical explanation for the appearance of these monsters. The dimensional rift that they are coming from would make even genius scientists gape in awe. Then there's some goblins eating a corpse. Hwayoon start countdown, then beside him that man said, what? Hwayoon said, it's exactly 10 minutes, there are 10 goblins in each wave, and 10 minutes between each wave, 10 goblins every 10 minutes they are. Currently a total of 26 goblin out there. 10 minutes later, there's going to be 10 more. The problem is, even though he understands the situation fully, he can't think of a way to solve it. There are also limitations to the things in this store that can be used as a weapon. That things made of heavy metals like axes, crossbars, chainsaw, and hammer would use a lot of energy. They are all close combat weapon. One mistake, and we had be goblin chow. In fact, many of the people in the hardware store have already died, and the ones giving it their all to fight look completely exhausted. Then he gritted his teeth and thinks, if only he had a gun. Then there is a missile fire sound, and then a blast happen on people's background. Then 4 soldier coming in with all over holding with a gun and said, this is the Capital Defense Command's counter-terrorism response team. They said, you are now in safe hands. Please assist the injured near you and move towards us. The soldier is coming in mall with the tank. They are spreading all over and killing goblins with guns and saving peoples. Now, Hwayoon relax something. Then that man beside him thanked Hwayoon and told his name Kim Boa Chen. Then Hwayoon said, he is tired, just to go on your way. He thought, he is sick and tired of the week, One thing he learned from the participating in battle around the world as a mercenary, is that the weak are always a heavy burden. He don't want to carry that around when the situation isn't over yet. Furthermore, now that there are soldier with gun around, he have even less of a need for a man like him. Then he approached towards soldier while holding the chainsaw. While see a soldier he sigh and thinks, unstable breathing, unstable stance, and they're an absolute mess. Goblins are dodging their bullets. Lee Yoon gritted his teeth and said to a soldier that hand over the gun. He's Lee Yoon from Force 1. Hand that gun over, the soldier said. Can you repeat that? Then Lee Yoon snatched the gun. Then one of the soldiers scolding to that soldier that, you useless, you let your gun get stolen? What are you doing? Another soldier said, are you kidding me? Arrest him. Then Lee Yoon hold the gun and start shooting and killed all goblins. All the soldiers are surprised and shocked to see that. One of them said, what did he just see? Another one said that he told he is from Force 1. You mean the most ruthless mercenary company in the world? Lee Yoon still firing on and killing goblins, and saving people from it. Then soldier evacuating all the citizens from there while he Lee Yoon keep killing goblins. Then a screen appear that says, game restarting. Lee Yoon was shocked and puzzled. Then he hold his head and thinks, since stepping into the hardware store, inconceivable things have happened one after another, but it's this line of test in front of him, that's making his head hurt. He thinks that restarting? He don't know what on earth is so-called game is, but the fact that it says, restarting rather than starting is making his head even more of mess. He have never seen such hideous monster or something like that dimensional rift before, and it isn't just him, no one in this hardware store have seen such a scene before. Then a hand appeared from that portal. Lee Yoon still thinking, it would probably be foolish to try to understand the situation. After all, everything that happens in stepping into this hardware store was beyond human common sense. Then there's sound coming from portal. Lee Yoon turned there and saw a big orc roaring from there, everyone running from there. The soldier are panicked and firing all over there, the bullet hitting the orc but nothing hurt him. Lee Yoon also panicked and firing at him, everyone firing on him, but the bullet can't penetrated that orc. Then someone with axe jumps over and cut the orc leg, and said, an orc's lower body is its weakness, you can take them down easily if you can make them lose their balance. Soldier said, who's that guy? Lee Yoon thinks, that man was clearly a weakling. Less than an hour ago, he was huddled in a corner, trembling before a small goblin, but that man who had just easily defeated that orc seemed to know everything. Then he cut the orc's head and standing on its dead body. Lee Yoon still thinking, the way he nonchalantly took down the orc certainly wasn't clumsy at all. After that then many orcs coming through the rift gate, the roar coming from there, they all turned that direction, while Lee Yoon surprised to see that kid. He's running with his monkey wrench. It was the kid that previous boy, a couple hours ago. Even with the knowledge of what the orc's weaknesses is, still reckless to fight and an orc with just that information, especially for a young boy with that is small body. However, that little boy just casually slaughtering orcs as if it isn't his first time doing so. Lee Yoon again surprised to that female staff of Mart. She's holding a chain to fight. Lee Yoon thought, so it isn't just the kid, that employee too, who cut the bubble wrap is displaying similar behavior. She's currently taking down orcs to left and right without the slightest trace of emotion in her eyes. The man named Kimbo, who is currently slashing at orc body with an axe, is the same person who was praying on his knee as he was being attacked by a monster. Also, the little kid, that female employee who had is spoken to him a warm and kind tone. Just what on earth is going on? Then a soldier told to hold fire. Lee Yoon thinks, what is the difference between the people who suddenly changed and fought the orca and those who didn't? What caused their sudden changes? Then a screen window appears in front of Lee Yoon that said, there is no tutorial in this game, however, you may ask 3 questions about the game. Then Lee Yoon think, when he was mercenary he had a nickname. It was given to him when he entered the world's most ruthless mercenary company and roamed the battlefield, fearless one who does not fear anything. It is a nickname given by the foreigner in his team. as he always kept his cool and exercised calm judgment regardless of the situation. Thanks to these traits, he was able to survive battlefield full of bullets and debris. He once again realized that it would be foolish to try to understand this entire situation, and he said, "This isn't even funny anymore," Lee Yoon thinks, as everything that he have witnessed is real. So, what the hell is all this? This is his first question. The system said, "It's the end of the world, and this is a system that has been designed to test human beings. It's a combination of the video games you humans seem to like so much," Lee Yoon said. "Bullshit. Stop this crap at once," Lee Yoon thinks. Its mechanical voice sound like a female. This is annoying. He can just bash his way through things like goblin and monsters, but that won't work with this. It doesn't have a physical body and only communicates through text and voice, the system said. He will add to answer to your first question, if the status window will be open to you from this moment on. Status window unlocked, the system said. There are humans who have been selected as player all over the world. You are currently in Korea. Please call out the status window, and then Lee Yoon call out status window. Then Lee Yoon's status window appears up here, with stamina 1, strength 1, agility 1, concentration 1, mana 1, bonus point 3. Achievement and skills none. Then he smiles nervously and thinks, the situation is starting to get interesting. The absurd system message about video games being incorporated into this world is actually true, the system said. This is proof that you have become a player of this game. Gates have appeared all around the globe. These gates are connected to dungeons, where monsters, and then Lee Yoon interrupted him and said, so, he should train himself hard and defeat the monsters, right? So as not to let mankind perish? The system says, you catch on quick, Lee Yoon said. More importantly, that kid, the employee and the guy is glasses, why did they certainly become like that? The system said, he do not know either, they might be natural born player, Lee Yoon said, as if, then sudden system is error, Lee Yoon said, what's wrong with it? The system said, Lee Yoon the only player who has not regressed, to maintain the balance of the game, the player shall receive a special skill, system is searching for special skill, while Lee Yoon puzzled and said, the only one who didn't regressed? Everyone regressed except him. To regress is to return from the future to past. It is a word that was familiar to him because he's shouted thousands of times on the battlefield about wanting to return. Now everything is slowly starting to make sense, from the meaning of the words game restarting to the way those ordinary people slaughtered the orcs so easily. Then Lee Yoon gritted his teeth and angry about that and said, does this even make sense? Regression. It was at this moment that he realized everyone had regressed except him. He said, he is going to ask another question, while system still searching for special skill. Then a lady tapped him and said, hey, you. What are you doing? Go over there and help them fight? You were fighting pretty well, just now. Then Lee Yoon glared her and said, you didn't even dare to make a peep when the monsters were in front of you, just be quiet. That lady shocked. Lee Yoon asked her, and did you regress too? That woman said, what's regress? Then Lee Yoon said, it's mean you came back to the past from the future. That lady said, what are you talking about? Seriously? Lee Yoon thanks to her, he have learned one more things. Now those who became player have regressed, as if trying to prove that they are from the future. The player are talking down the orcs by only focusing on attacking their weak spots. He is the only one who doesn't know the future, Lee Yoon thought. This is a freaking headache. He shouldn't rush into making any judgment. Then a man said, may he introduce himself again? He said, you are the reason he was able to become a player. He has been searching for you his entire life, and even went from dungeons to dungeons all over Korea. He needed to meet you, while Lee Yoon asked, what? That man said, this day was the turning point of his entire life. He continued and said, if you didn't handed me a chainsaw, then he was loser from the rest of his life. Lee Yoon thinks, clearly, these are the words of someone who has been to the future. That man said, The only reason he was able to achieve some success as a player is that he had you as a role model, Mr. Lee Hwayoon. Lee Yoon said, "Do you know me well?" That man said, "There isn't a single player in Korea who doesn't know you. You are the player who entered the final dungeon." Lee Yoon surprise and thinks, as he is slowly starting to get a grasp of the situation, here come another term that he is hearing for the first time in his life. Then two player also come there and they all seeing Lee Yoon like a star. Everyone said, "It's an honor to meet the hero who went into final dungeon." That boy with monkey wrench said that, "The way you looked as you enter the final dungeon, flipping your middle finger at countless reporter, he will never forget it till the day he die." These people are one who were fighting the orcs, in other words, they are player, which also means that they have all regressed. The man said, "If you don't mind, he would like to hear about what happened in the final dungeon." Lee Yoon thinks about, these people are all talking about the place called the final dungeon. Then system screen appear and said, "A special skill search completed. Please check the status window and the special skill is butterfly effect level 1. To the only one who did not regress, bonus point will be awarded for action of yours that change the future." Then Lee Yoon surprise and thinks, "What?" He know exactly what the butterfly effect means. The flutter of a butterfly's wings can ultimately cause a typhoon halfway around the world.